You know, I've been thinking a lot lately about something that's so crucial, so fundamental to our happiness and success, yet so often overlooked. It's about respecting yourself enough to walk away when you're not appreciated. Now, isn't that something? Let's dive into this, shall we? Picture this. You're giving your all day in and day out. You're pouring your heart and soul into your work, your relationships, your dreams. But something's off. You're not getting back what you're putting in. The scales are tipped and not in your favor. What do? I'll tell you what most people do. They stick around. They hang on, hoping things will change. They compromise their worth, their dignity, their very essence. And for what? For the promise of someday? For the off chance that their efforts might finally be recognized. But let me tell you something, and listen closely because this might just change your life. You are worth more than someday. You are worth more than we'll see. Now, I'm not saying you should walk away from every challenge. No, sir. Challenges are what make us grow. They're the resistance that builds our character muscles. But there's a world of difference between a challenge and a dead end. You see, in my years of observing successful people, truly successful people, mind you, I've noticed a common trait. They have an uncanny ability to recognize when it's time to walk away. They understand that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is turn your back on what's no longer serving you. But why is it so hard for most of us to do this? Why do we cling to situations that drain us, to people who don't value us, to dreams that have long since lost their luster? I'll tell you why. It's fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of starting over. Fear of admitting that we've invested time and energy into something that's not panning out. But here's the kicker. That fear, it's costing you. It's costing you your happiness, your potential, your very life force. Now, let me ask you something. If you had a friend who was constantly mistreated, constantly undervalued, constantly taken for granted, what would you tell them? Would you say, oh, just stick it out? Maybe things will get better. Of course not. You tell them to stand up for themselves, to demand better. So why? Oh, why? Are you not giving yourself the same advice? You see, walking away when you're not appreciated isn't about giving up. It's about standing up for yourself, for your worth, for your potential. It's about having the courage to say, I deserve better, and I'm not afraid to go out and find it. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but Jim, what if I walk away and things don't get better? What if I end up worse off? And to that I say, what if you fly? What if by walking away from what's holding you down, you finally give yourself the room to soar? Remember, every great success story starts with someone walking away from something. Steve Jobs walked away from college. Walt Disney walked away from a job where his creativity wasn't valued. Oprah Winfrey walked away from a cushy news anchor position to pursue her own dreams. These people didn't succeed in spite of walking away. They succeeded because they walked away. They created space in their lives for something better, something greater, something more aligned with their worth. But here's the thing, walking away isn't just about big life-altering decisions. It's also about the small, everyday choices we make. It's about walking away from that conversation that's draining your energy. It's about walking away from that project that's not aligned with your values. It's about walking away from that habit that's holding you back. Each time you choose to walk away from something that's not serving you, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and to the world. You're saying, I matter. My time matters. My energy matters. My dreams matter. And let me tell you, when you start living with that level of self-respect, the world sits up and takes notice. Opportunities start to flow your way. The right people start to enter your life. Why? You've shown that you won't settle for less than you deserve. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. Walking away, especially from something you've invested in, can be one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But remember this, staying in a situation where you're not valued is much, much harder in the long run. Think about it. So, every day you stay in a job that doesn't appreciate you is a day you're not spending finding or creating your dream job. Every day you stay in a relationship that doesn't value you is a day you're not open to meeting someone who will cherish you. Every day you cling to a dream that no longer ignites your passion is a day you're not discovering your true calling. You see, walking away isn't just about what you're leaving behind. It's about what you're walking towards. It's about creating space in your life for the things, the people, the opportunities that truly deserve you. But here's the catch. You have to believe you deserve better. You have to know deep in your bones that you are worthy of appreciation, of respect, of love. Because if you don't believe it, why should anyone else? So how do you cultivate this belief? How do you build this unshakable sense of self-worth? Well, it starts with small steps. It starts with honoring your own boundaries. It starts with speaking up when something doesn't feel right. It starts with celebrating your own achievements, no matter how small. And most importantly, it starts with being willing to walk away when these things are not respected. You see, every time you walk away from a situation where you're not appreciated, you're flexing your self-respect muscle. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Soon you'll find yourself naturally gravitating towards people and opportunities that value you. You'll find yourself creating circumstances that honor your worth. But remember, walking away is not about anger or resentment. It's not about slamming doors or burning bridges. It's about calmly, confidently choosing yourself. It's about having the wisdom to know when something is no longer right for you and the courage to do something about it. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Jim, what about loyalty? What about commitment? Aren't these important values? And you're absolutely right, they are. But loyalty and commitment should never come at the cost of your self-respect. True loyalty, true commitment, they're two-way streets. They require mutual respect, mutual appreciation. If you're the only one giving, if you're the only one committed, then it's not loyalty, it's self-sacrifice. And let me tell you, sacrificing yourself will never lead to success or happiness. You know, I'm reminded of a story. There was once a young man who worked tirelessly at his job. He put in extra hours, came up with innovative ideas, always went above and beyond. But year after year, his efforts went unnoticed. His salary remained stagnant, his position unchanged. His friends and family urged him to look for opportunities elsewhere, but he was loyal. He believed that if he just worked hard enough, his efforts would eventually be recognized. 5 years passed this way, then 10. The young man was not so young anymore. And one day he realized something. He had given the best years of his life to a company that never appreciated him. He had put his dreams on hold, his potential on the back burner, all for the sake of a loyalty that was never reciprocated. That day, he decided to walk away. And you know what? It was the best decision he ever made. Within a year, he had started his own business. Within 2, he was more successful than he had ever been at his old job. But more than that, he was happy. He was fulfilled. He was appreciated by his clients, by his employees, and most importantly, by himself. You see, by walking away, he hadn't given up. He had given himself a chance to be valued, a chance to reach his full potential, a chance to create the life he truly deserved. Now, I'm not saying everyone should quit their job and start a business. What I'm saying is this: don't let loyalty to others make you disloyal to yourself. Don't let your commitment to a person, a job, or an idea blind you to your own worth. Because here's the truth. The moment you start respecting yourself enough to walk away from what no longer serves you is the moment you start attracting what truly deserves you. But let's talk about something else for a moment. Let's talk about fear. Because make no mistake, walking away is scary. It's stepping into the unknown. It's leaving the comfort of the familiar, even if that familiar isn't particularly good for us. I've seen so many people stay stuck in bad situations simply because they're afraid of what might happen if they leave. They tell themselves, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. But I say, why dance with any devil at all? Fear will tell you all sorts of things. It'll tell you you're not good enough to find something better. It'll tell you that if you leave, you'll end up alone. It'll tell you that you should be grateful for what you have, even if what you have is making you miserable. But here's what fear won't tell you, that on the other side of that fear is freedom, that beyond that uncertainty is opportunity, that what's waiting for you outside your comfort zone is a life beyond your wildest dreams. You see, fear is a liar, it's a thief. It steals your dreams, your potential, your happiness. And every time you let fear stop you from walking away from a situation where you're not appreciated, you're letting it win. So how do you conquer this fear? How do you find the courage to walk away even when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to stay put? You do it by remembering your worth. You do it by focusing not on what you're leaving behind, but on what you're moving towards. You do it by trusting that you have the strength, the resilience, the capability to create something better for yourself. And most importantly, you do it by taking that first step. Because here's the thing about courage. It's not about not being afraid. It's about being afraid and doing it anyway. You know, I'm reminded of a quote by John Wayne. He said, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway." And that's exactly what walking away is. It's saddling up even when you're scared to death. It's choosing self-respect over comfort. It's choosing potential over familiarity. It's choosing yourself. Now, I want to address something else. Some of you might be thinking, but Jim, isn't walking away when things get tough a form of quitting? And isn't quitting bad? Let me clear this up. Once and for all, walking away when you're not appreciated is not quitting. Quitting is giving up on your dreams. Walking away is refusing to give up on yourself. There's a big difference between giving up and knowing when you've had enough. Giving up is letting go of your goals. Walking away is realizing that the path you're on isn't leading you to those goals and having the courage to find a new path. You see, successful people, truly successful people, don't succeed because they never give up. They succeed because they know when to give up on things that aren't working so they can focus their energy on things that will. Think about it this way. If you're climbing a ladder and you realize it's leaning against the wrong wall, what do? Do you keep climbing hoping that somehow you'll end up where you want to be? Or do you climb back down and find the right wall? Walking away when you're not appreciated is simply finding the right wall for your ladder. It's realizing that your efforts, your talents, your passion deserve to be directed towards something that values them. But here's something crucial to understand. Walking away is not an end point. It's a beginning. It's not about closing doors. It's about opening new ones. It's not about ending something. It's about starting something better. When you walk away from a situation where you're not appreciated, you're not just leaving something behind. You're moving towards something greater. You're creating space in your life for opportunities that align with your worth. You're making room for people who will value you, for experiences that will fulfill you, for a life that will satisfy you. Now, I want to talk about something that often holds people back from walking away, the sunk cost fallacy. You see, we humans have this tendency to continue investing in something simply because we've already invested so much in it. I mean, I've put so much effort, money into this, I can't just walk away now. But here's the truth. What you've already invested is gone. It's sunk. You can't get it back. The only thing you can control is what you do from this point forward. And continuing to invest in something that's not working simply because you've already invested in it is like throwing good money after bad. Your time, Your energy, your passion, these are your most valuable resources, and they are limited. Every moment you spend in a situation where you're not appreciated is a moment you're not spending creating the life you deserve. So ask yourself this: if you were starting from scratch right now, with all the knowledge and experience you have, would you choose to be in this situation? Would you choose this job, this relationship, this path? If the answer is no, then it's time to walk away. But walking away isn't just about leaving. It's about leaving well. It's about closing one chapter of your life with grace and dignity so you can start the next one with positivity and hope. Or how do you do this? How do you walk away in a way that honors both yourself and the situation you're leaving? First, be clear about your reasons. Understand exactly why you're walking away. Is it because your efforts aren't being recognized? Is it because your values are being compromised? Is it because you're not growing? Being clear about your reasons will not only give you the strength to walk away, but it will also guide you towards better situations in the future. Second, communicate. If it's appropriate and safe to do so, explain your reasons for leaving. This isn't about blaming or criticizing. It's about being honest and giving the other party a chance to understand your perspective. Who knows? Your willingness to walk away might be the wake-up call they need to change. Third, be professional. Even if you've been treated unfairly, resist the urge to burn bridges. The world is small, and you never know when your paths might cross again. Plus, leaving with professionalism and grace says more about your character than any amount of retaliation ever could. Fourth, learn from the experience. Every situation, even a negative one, has lessons to teach us. What have you learned about yourself, about your needs, about your boundaries? Use these lessons to make better choices in the future. And finally, focus on the future. Walking away isn't about dwelling on what went wrong. It's about looking forward to go right. It's about being excited for the new opportunities, the new experiences, the new growth that awaits you. You know, I'm reminded of a story of bamboo. You see, when you plant bamboo, nothing happens for the first 4 years. You water it, you nurture it, but you don't see any growth above the ground. And then in the 5th year, something amazing happens. The bamboo suddenly grows up to 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Now, what was happening during those first 4 years? The bamboo was growing underground, developing a root system strong enough to support its rapid growth. And that's exactly what happens when you walk away from a situation where you're not appreciated. It might seem like nothing is happening at first. You might feel lost, uncertain, even scared. But beneath the surface, you're growing. You're developing strength, resilience, self-respect. You're building a foundation for explosion. And when the right opportunity comes along, when you find that job that values your skills, that relationship that cherishes you, that path that aligns with your purpose, you'll be ready. You'll grow in ways you never thought possible. But here's the thing. None of that growth can happen if you stay rooted in infertile soil. None of that potential can be realized if you're constantly being undervalued and unappreciated. You see, walking away when you're not appreciated isn't just about leaving a bad situation. It's about giving yourself the chance to thrive. It's about creating the conditions for your own success and happiness. Now, I want to address something that might be on some of your minds. You might be thinking, but Jim, what if I walk away and I fail? What if I can't find anything better? And to that I say, so what if you fail? Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every successful person you admire has failed, probably more times than you can imagine. The difference is they didn't let those failures stop them. They learned from them, they grew from them, and they kept moving forward. You see, the only real failure is staying in a situation where you're not valued, where you're not growing, where you're not becoming the best version of yourself. Everything else is just learning. And here's something else to consider, and here's something else to consider. What if you succeed? What if by walking away, you open the door to opportunities beyond your wildest dreams? What if this act of self-respect is the catalyst for a life filled with appreciation, growth, and fulfillment? You see, that's the thing about walking away. It's not just about what you're leaving, it's about what you're walking towards. It's about creating space in your life for something better. It's about having faith in yourself and in the universe that there's more out there for you. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Jim, I have responsibilities. I can't just walk away. And I hear you. I'm not suggesting you abandon your obligations or act recklessly. What I am suggesting is that you start making choices that honor your worth. Maybe you can't walk away from your job right this second, but you can start looking for new opportunities. Maybe you can't completely cut ties with someone who doesn't appreciate you, but you can start setting boundaries. Maybe you can't immediately quit a project that's draining you, but you can start redirecting your energy towards things that fulfill you. You see, walking away doesn't always have to be a grand, dramatic gesture. Sometimes it's a series of small steps, each one taking you closer to where you deserve to be. And let me tell you something, each of these steps, no matter how small, is an act of courage. It's you saying to the world, I deserve better, and I'm not afraid to go after it. Now, here's another thing to remember. Walking away when you're not appreciated isn't just about you. It's about setting an example. It's about showing others, especially those who look up to you, that it's okay to demand respect. That it's okay to prioritize your own well-being, that it's okay to believe in your own worth. Think about it. How many people do you know who are stuck in situations where they're not appreciated? How many of your friends, your family members, your colleagues are settling for less than they deserve? By having the courage to walk away, you're not just changing your own life, you're showing others that it's possible to change theirs too. You're creating a ripple effect of self-respect and self-worth that could change countless lives. Isn't that something worth walking towards? But here's the thing, walking away isn't the end of the journey, it's the beginning. Once you've walked away from what doesn't serve you, you need to walk towards what does. And that requires clarity. It requires knowing what you want, what you value, what you're willing to accept, and what you're not. So I want you to do something right now. I want you to take a moment and think about what appreciation looks like to you. What does it feel like to be truly valued? What kind of environment allows you to thrive? What kind of relationships nourish your soul? Get clear on these things. Write them down if you need to. Because once you know what you're looking for, you'll be amazed at how much easier it becomes to find it or to create it. You see, when you're clear about your worth, when you're connected to your value, you naturally start attracting situations and people that align with that. It's like you're sending out a signal to the universe saying, this is what I deserve, and I won't settle for less. And let me tell you, the universe listens, but it can't deliver if you're not willing to receive. It can't bring you what you deserve if you're clutching tightly to what you don't. That's why walking away is so powerful. It's you making space in your life for what you truly deserve. It's you telling the universe, I'm ready for better. I'm open to receive. Now, I want to talk about something that often comes up when we discuss walking away. Guilt. You see, many of us have been conditioned to believe that walking away is selfish, that we should stick it out, that we should be grateful for what we have, even if what we have is making us miserable. But let me ask you this, is it selfish to respect yourself? Is it selfish to believe that you deserve to be appreciated? Is it selfish to want to live a life that fulfills you? Of course not. In fact, I'd argue that staying in a situation where you're not appreciated is the selfish act. Because when you do that, you're denying the world the gift of your full potential. You're holding back the contributions you could be making if you were in an environment that valued you. You see, you have unique talents, unique perspectives, unique gifts to offer the world. But you can only offer those gifts fully when you're in an environment that appreciates them, when you're surrounded by people who value what you bring to the table. So, walking away when you're not appreciated isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's necessary for your growth, for your happiness, and for the positive impact you can have on the world. Now, I know that walking away can be scary. It can feel like you're stepping off a cliff into the unknown. But let me tell you something, that unknown is where all the magic happens. That's where growth happens. That's where life happens. You see, comfort zones are nice, but nothing ever grows there. And if you're in a situation where you're not appreciated, you're not growing. You're stagnating, you're shrinking to fit into a box that was never meant to contain you. But when you walk away, when you step into that unknown, you give yourself room to expand. You give yourself permission to become who you were always meant to be. And yes, it might be uncomfortable at first. Yes, there might be challenges, but those challenges are what shape you. Those uncomfortable moments are what strengthen you. They're what prepare you for the amazing opportunities that are waiting for you on the other side of your comfort zone. You know, I'm reminded of a quote by Neil Donald Walsh. He said, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." And I couldn't agree more. When you walk away from a situation where you're not appreciated, you're not ending something, you're beginning something. You're beginning a new chapter of your life. One where you're the author, where you get to write your own story. But here's something important to remember. Walking away isn't about running from something. It's about moving towards something. It's not about escape. It's about growth. It's not about giving up. It's about opening up to new possibilities. So, when you walk away, make sure you're walking towards something. Have a vision of what you want your life to look like. Have goals, have dreams, have aspirations. Because when you have a clear destination in mind, the journey becomes a lot less scary. And remember, the journey is just as important as the destination. Each step you take away from what doesn't serve you is a step towards what does. Each boundary you set, each time you stand up for your worth, you're creating a new pattern in your life. You're setting a new standard for how you deserve to be treated. Now, I want to talk about something that's crucial when it comes to walking away. Forgiveness. You see, when we're not appreciated, it's easy to become bitter. It's easy to hold on to anger and resentment. But here's the thing. Those negative emotions, they are like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. They only hurt you. Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was, okay? Doesn't mean you have to let that person or situation back into your life. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself. It's about letting go of the weight of anger so you can move forward lighter, freer, ready to embrace the good that's coming your way. So as you walk away, practice forgiveness. Forgive those who didn't appreciate you. They were probably doing the best they could with what they knew. Forgive yourself for staying as long as you did. You were doing the best you could with what you knew. And then turn your focus to the future, because that's where your power lies. That's where your potential lies. That's where your true life is waiting for. You know, I've met so many people over the years who have transformed their lives by having the courage to walk away when they weren't appreciated it. I've seen people leave jobs that were draining them and go on to start successful businesses. I've seen people leave relationships that were dimming their light and go on to find love that makes them shine brighter than ever. I've seen people walk away from paths that others chose for them and create lives that are truly their own. And you know what all these people had in common? They believed they deserved better. They respected themselves enough to say, this isn't good enough for me. I'm worth more than this. And let me tell you, if they can do it, so can you. You have that same power within you. You have that same courage, that same strength, that same worth. So I want you to make a promise to yourself right now. Promise that from this day forward, you will not settle for less than you deserve. Promise that you will respect yourself enough to walk away from any situation, any relationship, any environment that doesn't appreciate you. Promise that you will believe in your worth, even when others don't see it. Promise that you will trust in your potential, even when others doubt it. Promise that you will honor your dreams, even when others dismiss them. Because here's the truth. You are worthy of appreciation. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of success. You are worthy of happiness. You are worthy of a life that fills you with joy and purpose and meaning. But that life, it's not going to come to you. You have to go out and create it. And sometimes creating that life means walking away from what's holding you back. So, my friends, I challenge you to look at your life right now. Look at your job, your relationships, your daily routines. Are you truly appreciated in these areas? Are you valued? Are you respected? Are you growing? If the answer is no, then it's time to make a change. It's time to have the courage to walk away. It's time to create space in your life for what you truly deserve. Remember, every great journey begins with a single step, and sometimes that step is a step away from what no longer serves you. Well, so take that step. Take it today. Take it now, because on the other side of that step is a life beyond your wildest dreams. A life where you're appreciated, valued, respected. A life where you can truly shine. You deserve that life. You're worthy of that life, and it's waiting for you. All I have to do is have the courage to walk towards it. Thank you.